Dear students, in the previous presentation about perineum, we have seen everything about the anal triangle in detail. Now, in this presentation about the perineum, we will see the anterior triangle, that means the urogenital triangle, and the superficial contents of this urogenital triangle. So, in this presentation about the urogenital triangle, we are going to see the urogenital triangle under the following headings: boundaries, the contents, that means the superficial contents, not the deep contents. Deep contents means the layers of the urogenital triangle, superficial perineal pouch and the deep perineal pouch. That these layers, superficial perineal pouch, deep perineal pouch, all these things we are going to see in the next presentation. In this presentation, we are going to see the superficial contents alone. The cutaneous nerve supply of the urogenital triangle also we are going to see. If you take the boundaries of the urogenital triangle, in front it is bounded by the lower margin of the pubic symphysis. We can also say, in other words, anteriorly it is bounded by a arcuate pubic ligament. Arcuate pubic ligament is nothing but the ligament which joins the upper ends of the pubic rami on both sides. This ligament, it covers the inferior margin of the pubic symphysis. You can able to appreciate a small horizontal line. It covers the inferior margin of the pubic symphysis. The urogenital triangle is posteriorly bounded by an horizontal line joining the anterior ends of the ischial tuberosities on both sides. On each side, that means laterally, the triangle is bounded by the corresponding ischiopubic ramus. If we take the contents of the urogenital triangle, now we are going to see the superficial contents of the urogenital triangle, not the deep contents. The superficial contents means the external genitalia of the male and female. If we take the superficial contents in male, the scrotum and penis constitutes the superficial contents. The scrotum, although it lies in the urogenital triangle, it is considered as a outpouching of the anterior abdominal wall. The scrotum has been studied in detail already. The penis, it consists of root of the penis and the body of the penis. Although we have studied the root of the penis and the body of the penis already, the root of the penis lies in the superficial perineal pouch. So we are going to study the root of the penis once again. The root of the penis consists of three masses of erectile tissue, namely the two crura, right and left, and the bulb of the penis. All these three masses of erectile tissue lies in the superficial perineal pouch of the urogenital triangle. If we take up the crura of the penis, each crus is attached to the inner aspect of the ischiopubic ramus. The crus is covered superficially and at the sides by the muscle called ischiocavernosus. In this diagram, you can able to appreciate the crus is covered by a ischiocavernosus muscle. The deep artery of the penis. Initially, this artery lies in the deep perineal pouch. From the deep perineal pouch, it pierces the perineal membrane and comes to the superficial perineal pouch. After coming into the superficial pouch, this artery that traverses the crus of the penis. If we take the crus traced anteriorly, each crus converges towards its fellow of the opposite side. And near the inferior border of the pubic symphysis, each crus joins with each other to form corpora cavernosa, which lies on the dorsal aspect of the body of the penis. If we take the bulb of the penis, it is an expanded erectile structure situated in the superficial perineal pouch. It has two surfaces, upper surface and the lower surface. In this diagram, you can able to appreciate the bulb expanded portion, the bulb here. The lower surface of the bulb is covered by a muscle called bulbospongiosus muscle. In the diagram, you can able to appreciate the muscle, the bulbospongiosus. Coming to the upper surface of the bulb, urethra, after traverses through the deep perineal pouch, pierces the perineal membrane. Then it pierces the upper surface of the bulb and enters the bulb. Just after entering into the bulb, it shows a dilatation called the intrabulbar fossa. You can able to appreciate the intrabulbar fossa in this diagram. Traced anteriorly, the bulb is continuous with the corpus spongiosum of the penis. This corpus spongiosum lodges in the groove on the ventral surface of the fused corpora cavernosa. Coming to the superficial contents of the urogenital triangle in female. All the female external genitalia lies in the urogenital triangle. The female external genitalia is otherwise called vulva or pudendum. It includes mons pubis, labia majora, labia minora, the clitoris, the vestibule of the vagina, and the greater vestibular glands. We are going to see all the features of the female external genitalia one by one. First, we take up the mons pubis. It is a rounded median eminence situated in front of the pubic symphysis. It is produced by the accumulation of the subcutaneous fat. This mons pubis is covered by a pubic hair. Now we see the labia majora. Labia majora are pair of prominent longitudinal cutaneous elevations separated from each other by a pudendal cleft. The labia majora contains fibrofatty tissue and some smooth muscle fibers, which corresponds to the dartas muscle of the scrotum. Traced in front, the labia majora are connected to each other to form the anterior commissure just below the mons pubis. In this diagram, you can able to appreciate the mons pubis. Just below the mons pubis, you can able to appreciate the meeting point of the labia majora, the anterior commissure. Traced behind, the labia majora meet each other to form less prominent posterior commissure. The distance between the posterior commissure and the anus measures about 2.5 centimeters. This area constitutes the gynecological perineum. The gynecological perineum is nothing but the perineal body and the skin overlaying it. Each labium major presents two surfaces, outer surface and the inner surface. The outer surface is pigmented and it is covered with hair. The inner surface is provided with the numerous sebaceous glands. The subcutaneous tissue of the labium majors receives the attachment of the distal end of the round ligament of the uterus. The labia minora. Labia minora are pair of elongated thin folds of skin situated along the medial side of the labia majora within the pudendal cleft. In this diagram, you can able to appreciate the outer elevated pair of folds, the labia majora. Along the medial side of the labia majora, you can able to appreciate the thin fold of skin, the labia minora. The cleft, the space between the labia minora is called a vestibule. You can able to appreciate the space between the labia minora in this diagram, that is called a vestibule. The vestibule contains the urethral orifice in front, and behind the urethral orifice, you can able to appreciate the vaginal orifice. Unlike the labia majora, the labia minora is devoid of fat. Traced in front, each labium minus splits into upper and lower layers. If you take the upper layer, it covers the upper surface of the glans glytoridis and meets the corresponding layer of the opposite side to form the prepuce of the clitoris. You can be able to appreciate in this diagram the prepuce of the clitoris. If you take the lower layer of both sides meet with each other and also attach to the under surface of the glans to form frenulum of the clitoris. You can be able to appreciate the glans clitoris. Just below the glans clitoris, you can be able to appreciate the frenulum of the clitoris. Traced behind, the labia minora meet with each other to form a fold called frenulum of the labia minora or frenulum of vestibule or fourchette. The inner surface of the labia minora contains numerous sebaceous glands. Coming to the vestibule of the vagina, it is an elliptical space between the labia minora. This vestibule extends proximally from the frenulum of the clitoris distally to the frenulum of the vestibule. The vestibule of the vagina has following features. The first feature is the urethral orifice. This urethral orifice lies about 2.5 centimeter behind the clitoris. In this diagram, you can be able to appreciate the urethral orifice situated behind the clitoris. Then the next feature is the opening of the Skene's glands. If you carefully observe one on each side of the lateral margin of the urethral orifice, there is an opening of the paraurethral glands. There is the Skene's glands. If you take the Skene's glands, these Skene's glands are nothing but the group of small glands present on each side of the lower part of the urethra. In this diagram, you can be able to appreciate the paraurethral gland, that is the Skene's gland, in the superficial perineal pouch on one side of the lower part of the urethra. All these small glands have a common duct called paraurethral duct, which opens on each side of the external urethral orifice. The next feature is the vaginal orifice or introitus. It lies behind the urethral orifice. You can be able to appreciate the urethral orifice in the diagram behind the urethral orifice. The vaginal orifice, it is partly closed by a thin mucosal fold called hymen. You can be able to appreciate this hymen in this diagram. The margins of the hymen becomes fissured in sexual act, and this feature is called carangula hymenalis. Next, the orifices of ducts of greater vestibular glands. These orifices lie on each side of the vaginal orifice between the hymen and the labium minus. You can be able to appreciate the orifice of the greater vestibular gland on either side of the vaginal orifice between the hymen and the labium minus in this diagram. The details of the greater vestibular gland will be dealt at the end of this presentation. The next feature is the vestibular fossa. The posterior aspect of the vestibule of the vagina, you can be able to appreciate a small shallow depression between the posterior part of the vaginal orifice and the fourchette. The last feature is the lesser vestibular glands. Apart from the greater vestibular gland, there are numerous mucus secreting lesser vestibular glands are situated in the vestibule around the orifices of the urethra and vagina. Coming to the clitoris, it is a small erectile structure situated in the anterior part of the pudendal cleft. The clitoris is homologous with the penis but not traversed by urethra. Like penis, it consists of body and root. First, we will take up the root of the clitoris. The root of the clitoris is made up of three masses of erectile tissue, namely two crura, right and left, and bulb of the vestibule. All these three masses of erectile tissue are situated in the superficial perineal pouch. If we take up the crura of the clitoris, each crus is attached to the inner aspect of the ischiopubic rami. In this diagram, you can be able to appreciate the crus. It is attached to the ischiopubic rami. This crus is covered superficially and its sides by the muscle called ischiocavernosus. In this diagram, we can be able to appreciate the crus. It is covered by a ischiocavernosus muscle. Traced anteriorly, each crus converges towards its fellow of the opposite side. And at the inferior bar of the pubic symphysis, each crus fuses with each other to form corpora cavernosa of the body of the clitoris. In this diagram, you can be able to appreciate the crus. If you trace forwards the crus, each crus joins with each other to form the corpora cavernosa. In this diagram, you can be able to appreciate the corpora cavernosa. The deep artery of the clitoris. Initially, it lies in the deep perineal pouch. This artery pierces the perineal membrane, comes to the superficial perineal pouch. Then this artery traverses the crus of the clitoris. If you take up the bulb of the vestibule are pair of elongated mass of erectile tissue 3 centimeters in length, situated on each side of the vaginal and urethral orifices. In this diagram, you can be able to appreciate the perineal membrane. On the midline of the perineal membrane, you can be able to appreciate the orifices of the urethra and vagina. On either side of these orifices, you can be able to appreciate the elongated structure, erectile structure, bulb of the vestibule. The bulb of the vestibule corresponds to the bulb of the penis, but it is divided into two halves by the vagina. The bulb has two surfaces, upper and lower surfaces. What you are seeing in this diagram is the lower surface. The upper surface of the bulb is attached to the perineal membrane. The lower surface is covered by a muscle called bulbospongiosus. In this diagram, you can be able to appreciate the bulb on the right side. On the left side diagram, the bulb is covered by a muscle, the bulbospongiosus. Traced anteriorly, the tapering anterior ends of the bulbs are united by a venous plexus called bulbar commissure. It is continuous with the glans clitoris. In this diagram also, you can be able to appreciate the tapering anterior ends of the bulbs. These anterior ends becomes continuous with the glans clitoris. Traced posteriorly, the expanded posterior ends partly overlap the greater vestibular glans. If you observe this diagram, the posterior aspect of the bulb is expanded. It overlaps the gland. You can be able to appreciate the gland in the diagram. That is the greater vestibular gland. If you take up the body of the clitoris, it is made up of two corpora cavernosa enclosed in a fibrous sheath and partly separated by a incomplete pectiniform septum. In this diagram, you can be able to appreciate the two corpora cavernosa and the cut section. You can be able to appreciate the two corpora cavernosa are enclosed by a fibrous sheath. These two are incompletely separated by a pectiniform septum. Here the corpus spongiosum is absent. The downturned free ends of the corpora cavernosa is marked by a rounded tubercle called glans clitoridis. The surface of the glands is highly sensitive and plays an important role in the sexual responses. In this diagram, you can be able to appreciate in the midline above the urethral orifice, you can be able to appreciate the glans clitoridis. This body of the clitoris is supported by a suspensory ligament that is attached to the pubic symphysis. This ligament is not shown in this diagram. The glans clitoridis is exposed in the perineum, but not the body of the clitoris. The body of the clitoris can be palpated through the skin of the perineum. Coming to the last feature of the female external genitalia, that is the Bartholin's glands, otherwise called greater vestibular glands. They are pair of mucus-secreting compound racemose glands situated behind the lower part of the vestibule in the superficial perineal pouch. In this diagram, you can be able to appreciate the posterior ends of the bulb overlaps the Bartholin's glands. These glands are pea-shaped and less than 1 centimeter in diameter. Each gland has a long duct about 2 centimeter in length. This duct pierces the overlying fascia, Colles fascia, and opens at the side of the vaginal orifice between the hymen and the labium minus. The secretion of these glands play a minor role in the lubrication of the lower part of the vagina. These glands are homologous with the bulbourethral glands in male. Coming to the cutaneous innervation of the urogenital triangle, it is by means of the 4 nerves. Dorsal nerve of the penis or clitoris. It is a branch of the pudendal nerve. It supplies skin of the penis or clitoris except its root. The ilioinguinal nerve and the genital branch of the genitofemoral nerve. These nerves supply skin of the anterior 1/3 of the scrotum or labium majus and root of the penis or clitoris. The third is the perineal branch of the posterior cutaneous nerve of thigh. It supplies lateral part of the urogenital region and lateral part of the posterior 2/3 of the scrotum or labium majus. The last nerve is the posterior scrotal or labial nerves. These nerves are the branches of the perineal nerve, which in turn is a branch of the pudendal nerve. These posterior scrotal or labial nerves supply skin of the medial part of the urogenital region and medial part of posterior 2/3 of the scrotum or labium majus. In this diagram, the areas supplied by these 4 nerves are shown in different colors. The dorsal nerve of the penis or clitoris is shown as a white color. The ilioinguinal nerve and the genital branch of the genitofemoral nerve is shown as a green color. The area supplied by the perineal branch of the posterior cutaneous nerve of the thigh is indicated in blue color. The posterior scrotal nerve and the labial nerves, the area supplied by these nerves is shown as yellow color. Thank you, students. In this presentation of the perineum, we have seen the urogenital triangle, the boundaries of the urogenital triangle, the superficial contents of the urogenital triangles, that means the female and male external genitalia, and the cutaneous nerve supply of the urogenital triangle. In the next presentation, we will study the different layers of the urogenital triangle, the superficial perineal pouch, the deep perineal pouch in detail.